And we have new information on a religious cult based in Colorado. Members of the group have reappeared online under a new name.
Yeah, authorities arrested 7 members earlier this month after their leader's mummified body was found in a home near Crestone. CBS 4's Rick Sounder has been reporting on this cult. Appeared today on Dr. Phil, which focused on this case. And Rick, you do have new information for us.
Yes, Karen, the group may be small in numbers, but their online presence is huge. In fact, they have tens of thousands of people following them as Love Has Won. They disappeared from the live computer screen, but now some are back. It appears the cult has changed its name. Calling itself 5D Full Disclosure, members of the group posted, "God was here. She ascended. Now it's our turn." Their reference to God is believed to be Amy Carlson, known as Mother God. She was the leader of Love Has Won. Her mummified body, decorated with Christmas lights, was discovered in this home near Crestone. It's believed she had been dead for some time from natural causes. 7 members of Love Has Won were arrested on charges related to the presence of the body. 2 known members of the group posted on Facebook, dated today, with Amy Carlson's picture in the background.
However this happens, I just pray everybody's still loving Mom, whatever goes down. And they all do. Nothing changed.
It is a live stream entitled The Return of the Oracles. All of those arrested have now been released on bond. We spoke with 2 briefly earlier this month. How did she die?
Ken, I actually do not have an answer to that. Sincerely, I don't know.
A different side of the group appeared on a video recently posted to Reddit. What it shows are a series of clips from the group making highly anti-Semitic and anti-black statements, which we will not air.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am Jen and this is Fundy Fridays, and typically we talk about different aspects of Christian fundamentalism, American conservative politics, pop culture, and gay stuff. And I guess I'm gonna have to expand the definition to include high control groups. That's the beauty of Fundy Fridays, because a lot of times those Venn diagrams, they intersect like twin flames of a McDonald's manager and a Robin Williams.
What's up, Robin Williams?
Today we are going to be updating the story of Love Has Won, because there was recently a documentary produced called Love Has Won, The Cult of Mother God, and that was directed by Hannah Olsen. Fellow YouTuber Emily Louise has a producer credit on this thing, so we have come full circle, because if you remember from my previous video about Love Has Won, I highly recommended her channel, and I still do. So today we are going to be talking about Love Has Won, and I forgot to say it at the beginning, and I know you guys are going to be asking me. These earrings. It's a mushroom holding up a ghost in a jar, and believe it or not, I got it from Hot Topic. Like last Halloween, and I didn't have a outfit to wear it with, but I was like, today we're going to be talking about the planets, we're going to be talking about ascension, we're going to be talking about the 5th dimension, we're going to be talking about psychedelic drugs, apparently. So, and I mean, Amy Carlson is dead, so hence the ghost. Yeah, why did I want to cover this group again? Well, the documentary came out and I watched it and it was incredible. And so I rewatched my old video too, and I was like, I was still good back then. I was curious because there were some things that the documentary didn't cover, because it primarily is, the story is told through the cult members. So, you know, there was some questions I had that were not answered, so I went ahead and answered them for myself. So by the end of this thing, we're going to find out whatever happened with all the arrests that were made, whatever happened to Amy Carlson's body, what happened to the members, how are they doing? Spoiler alert, they fractured. Jason Castillo, or Father God, is still being too much. What's that motherfucker die? Oh yeah, Lord. When it comes to like Love Has Won, this video is not the most comprehensive, but I'm going to do my best to tell you the important information, and I'm going to try to be funny, although like some of the stuff is just genuinely funny, because like Amy gets like just completely zooted and just screams at these people. And like a lot of it is verbal abuse, but sometimes she's just like yelling about Robin Williams.
Robin told me. And then my ass was like gone like the wind.
Some of that is funny, but like I want to remind you all that like this is a very serious situation. There was abuse going on. There was financial issues, and these people, a lot of them are mentally ill. It's not good. You don't want to see anybody going through hard times. You don't want to see anybody suffer. You don't want to see anybody being mistreated, you know. Love Has Won is just one of the names of this group. It is led by Amy Carlson, aka Mother God, and she is now passed away or ascended, as the group would like to call it. And this group made headlines in 2021 when she died, and she was sick for a long time. I'm pretty sure she had cancer, but she was trying to cure it through drinking like colloidal silver. And like by drinking it, I mean like probably half a gallon to a gallon a day. Like she was chugging that shit like Faygo. Also, I just found out, and I'll play the clip in just a second, from the autopsy report, Amy never had cancer. So it's actually even more tragic that she drank herself to death with silver trying to cure something that she didn't have.
Now, Stroud had been reportedly telling people she had metastatic cancer, which is likely one of the reasons she was ingesting all that colloidal silver. When Dr. Russell performed the autopsy, she didn't find any signs of cancer. Live here at the El Paso County Coroner's Office, I'm Sydney Stell, KRDO News Channel 13.
She died in Oregon, and they drove her back to Colorado to the main house. They call it Mission House. And they had camped with her for 6 weeks because they believed that she was going to ascend, that the like Galactic Federation was going to come pick her up. There was issues legally with like abuse of a corpse and things like that. And it was just wild because like the state of her body was just unheard of. They had wrapped her in Christmas lights. She was blue. There's also like betrayal in the story. You've got Michael Lamboy, aka Archangel Michael, who was the money guy and he took all their money and like completely disappeared. But before he did that, he called the cops and like gave them this like really big testimony about all the things that were going on. And then the group split because they didn't like the new leader, Father God. They felt that he was being manipulative and like speaking for her and like all these different things. And he's still at it, like I said. And yeah, so they made headlines because of this like just crazy way that her body was found. And thankfully her body was returned to her family. So she's able to, you know, finally be put to rest. But there was just a lot of issues with like, what do you do when like you're a part of this high control group and you've been told specifically what's going to happen with the leader's body when they die, and then it doesn't happen. And so they're kind of like stalling, trying to figure it out. Like, did they do something wrong? Did they anger the universe? Or are the aliens like just late? You know, maybe they're coming next week. Like
the Galactics, like, you know what I mean? Like our fantasies of like the starships, was that gonna happen now that mom's not in the body to be picked up? Like, we had no idea. We were just praying for like a literal miracle.
It's just really fascinating because of just the bizarre nature of what happened with her body, but also just the personality of not only Amy, but the members. Like, they're like spiritual hippies, but they're also like sleep deprived and like doing all kinds of drugs. And like they would host these live streams nearly 24 hours a day. I know that was one of their goals. I don't know if I've ever seen one of their 24-hour live streams, but they were streaming all the time. And so all of this stuff was available to see for free. Their family members were like having to watch these live streams so that they could see their loved ones and see what kind of state they're in. And they just start to go, not that they weren't kind of loopy before, but like they go from New Age spiritualism to like QAnon. And that isn't a very big jump.
Same thing with the Jews. It's like Hitler knew the truth. Hitler was trying to stop that.
They were being very problematic. They were anti-Jewish. They were, I mean, using the N-word.
You know how they give the shit to the fucking you hear that word? It's a cockroach. It's the fucking lowest form that hates God. That's what a is. It's nothing to do with color. They switch that around on you too. Trigger, 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 trigger. They've turned you into a fucking slave.
Like, they were just strung out on camera and, like, claiming, you know, that Amy was a reincarnated anybody you can possibly think of. But anyway, yeah, she, like, was receiving messages from Robin Williams. And Robin Williams, not Mork, because I checked.
Nanu.
And, you know, she was Marilyn Monroe, and she was Joan of Arc, and she was also Jesus, and she is God, and...
For them to come home back into life, they had to be fucking whores. Bad to the bone. Rape, pillage, thieves, out of right action, completely. I got this bitch. I got him, Robin. Kill me! Kill you.
Kill Roy.
Okay, this is extra hilarious because I actually unironically like Styx and Mr. Roboto, which is the song that they are playing in the background, and it is putting me at risk of being copyright claimed at any moment now. And the name of the album that song is on is Kilroy Was Here, and they do say Kilroy a whole bunch, so I'm just imagining that they're totally tweaking listening to this song and yelling and being anti-Semitic.
Cabal over! Spiritual ego whores done! If you're not connected to me, you're out. Thank you for your service.
Love Has Won. It's also been known as the Galactic Federation of Light and 5D Full Disclosure. You will see that name a lot. And by 5D, they mean the fifth dimension. I don't know why they skipped straight to the fifth dimension, because what's going on with the fourth dimension? Isn't the fourth dimension time? You know, I can get down with some of the weirder aspects of spirituality and stuff. You know, I think it's interesting, and I like to think about the galaxies and the universe and energy and some of that sometimes, you know. But I just can't get behind the Robin Williams thing because it's so specific. And Robin was a great guy. He was funny, he was smart, he loved everyone. I just think he's too good to be speaking to Amy. You know what I mean?
Michael checked in 5D News and sees that Robin Williams had died. 20 minutes later, he appears in our bedroom.
So this documentary, Love Has Won, The Cult of Mother God, it is on HBO. I mean, Max. I guess the HBO app has gone through almost as many reincarnations as Mother God, because I remember way back when it was HBO Go.
But Robin was Mom's main ambassador. She signed over like the divine plan for him to make changes. Like, he's a very, very big part of this, and humanity's gonna see that.
They actually got to the compound 3 weeks after Amy's death. So they have like footage from right in the thick of the drama. They even interviewed Jason Castillo in a hotel room, and he's got an ankle bracelet because he's on some sort of arrest or probation. And then they even do like a year later, catch up with everybody. And I really liked how they told the story. It was very humanizing, very sympathetic. And I really liked that now I know the names of all the people that I saw in the background of the live streams, because there's a couple that like are kind of famous within that group, like Commander Buddha and Hope and Aurora. I think I called them the Trixie and Katya of Love Has Won last time.
She called me Elmora.
My name is Hope.
The others have lovingly nicknamed me Uncle T.
Mary? It doesn't matter. What's in a name?
Aurora.
It's not going to make any more sense by the end of this. I just want to let you know.
Simple commands were given before bed. We'll add, so the whole team knows, he fucked off the tea, never brought Mom tea, took her sandwich away, left it out on the cupboard, and then stayed up for hours to suck from us. So that what? Things could be in right action. So that it would appear to Mom that I had been sucking on her all night.
Amy Carlson was born November 30th, 1975, and she grew up and lived in the Dallas area for a very long time. Amy grew up kind of poor, and her parents were divorced, and she had a really abusive stepmother, and it's just kind of like perfect storm for what ended up happening, because she was very vulnerable, she was abused, she was looking for her purpose in life, and she was trying her best while also being like really open to these nebulous concepts, right? She was just trying to find herself, and she was just trying to find out answers to the questions we all have about life and the universe. And unfortunately, she met a very tragic end. And I want to be very sympathetic to her mental illnesses, because she very clearly was displaying behavior and thoughts and things that would line up with that. Obviously, I can't diagnose her. I'm not even trying to. I just know that she was not in a healthy place. She had a string of unsuccessful and potentially abusive relationships. Then she discovers this like Galactic side of the internet, talking about 5D and energy and all this different stuff. And like a lot of that kind of stuff doesn't always end in anti-Semitism, but a lot of them do. A lot of them go from New Age to conspiracy theory to, yeah, you fill in the blank. Where does every conspiracy theory end up, you know? And that just becomes more and more apparent, because later on she's talking about defeating the cabal, which is a anti-Semitic trope.
Cabal over!
They just had a really bad thing going on at Love Has Won. They were abusive.
I'm fucking God, bitch. Do you fucking think I know what's going on every fucking moment? You're a fucking whore if you don't understand that I know what's going on. Thank you. No, I'm gonna stay in here and suck my dick by myself, and it's gonna be okay. No! I told you a fucking solution, whore. No one is fucking responding or listening to me as God. No, we're gonna suck our dicks.
They left one member for dead in the desert, stealing money from their members, in my opinion. They also moved to Hawaii, and Amy was saying that she was the goddess Pele. And like everywhere they went, they had protesters, because they were very disruptive. They're doing drugs at all hours of the night. They're screaming, they're live streaming. One time, one of the members accidentally burned down one of their houses because she was doing sage out in the forest. Like, she would talk openly about doing like psychedelic drugs.
Yes, I was crucified. I have the whole thing documented. I went back through the timeline. I experienced it all during a mushroom trip that Saint Germain took me on.
I'm not trying to scare anybody, but like there is a possibility that if you take drugs like that it can exacerbate or awaken certain mental disorders, and it's a very serious situation, and it's not all look at the colors. Sometimes you end up dead and blue and covered in Christmas lights. So
Mom is a no on drugs. We are not allowed to do drugs. She doesn't do drugs, and she has kicked people out of this field for doing drugs. Got it.
she was a manager at McDonald's, and she ran that place like the Navy, or should I say more like the Starship Enterprise.
Cabal was not expecting her to come in through McDonald's. They weren't expecting her to implement I'm loving it. And literally she flipped it to love. She flipped those burgers to represent love.
So they have a video of her from 1995 singing Jewel at a karaoke bar, or maybe it's a regular bar that just had a microphone. And she just is a totally different person. She's in her blonde era, and she's a cute little barfly. I like Jewel as much as the next guy, but I really think that Amy must have heard Who Will Save Your Soul, and she took that personally. She had 3 children with, I think, 3 different men. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just telling you the facts. But yeah, she got on the internet in the 90s, like a lot of us did, and that's where she found this community of like-minded individuals who like to, do mushrooms and look at tie-dye pictures on the internet. She was really big into the community of light workers. That's lightworkers.org, and that is still around. And she would make all types of friends. I feel like she didn't have enough money, but if she did, she would totally go to Burning Man. Like she would have fucking been the queen of Burning Man. Celebrities, or is she even a celebrity? Susie Hilfiger, that's Tommy Hilfiger's wife or daughter. She's actually his ex-wife, LOL. She met up with the group at one point and almost gave them a bunch of money, and then she left because they were crazy, and then Father God screamed about her online.
And I'm just gonna call you out, Susie Hilfiger whore. We got some billionaire whore action going on. I'm gonna pretend to love God. She came to mission. You were contracted to help God. What are you doing? Nothing. Sucking like the rest of the fucking Illuminati whore.
And she actually started a YouTube channel around 2006 or 2007, and she would live stream, and this is back when that technology was definitely not at the level it is today. So she'd have like these tiny chats, and she'd have like a whole bunch of them and talk to everybody, and she was doing like aura readings and etheric surgeries, which is a psychic surgery that can heal all ailments. No, I still don't know what that means 2 years later.
We have a couple of testimonials on the brain surgeries. One was that they're feeling great. They're out of like psychotic episodes. One was that their third eye started opening. So we are getting results.
Yeah, so on this forum is where she met her first father god, Amarith White Eagle. I don't know if that's his real name. I guess it doesn't matter. People are the names that they say that they are. And he's this like sweet hippie guy. And they would just get high and look at the clouds, except they believe that the really big clouds, especially the ones with the flat bottoms, those were starships. Actually, Jen, those were cloud ships. And that they were gonna come pick her up. And there's like footage of her being like, look at that starship, hi. Like, okay.
Cloud ships, of course, ready to cloak. And they love their picture taken.
Just fascinating, knowing that there really are people in them that really care.
Here's a long look at the ship. And take a long look at it, because it is long.
She left her children. She abandoned them without telling them where she was going, just left them at home and took off to hang out with this guy. They interview her children in this, 2 of them, and they like went to live with their different family members. So they're okay, but imagine the pain of losing your mother to something like this. And then she has the gall to go out and say that she's the, mother of all creation. It's like, you're supposed to be my mom. Why are you out here fucking this little gnome-looking guy? No offense to gnome-looking guys. So her and Amarith were twin flames, and they referred to themselves as mother and father of creation, or earth allies, and they have like videos talking about peace on earth, equal heart.
This is Mother and Father God and the Earth Allies. And we declare peace on earth, equal heart.
Peace on earth. She also said that she was the white buffalo calf woman.
It's Mother God, also known as Mother Earth, Divine Mother, Universal Mother, White Buffalo Calf Woman. I've got lots of names.
She would make money from these psychic surgeries, and then she would buy all kinds of like pseudo-spiritual crap on Amazon and just try to make herself look like the most like hippie that she could possibly be. But yeah, they had this publication, the Galactic Free Press. Thank God it's free. The people need this information. And yeah, they lived out in the middle of nowhere, near the mountains. I'm not sure if she lived in Colorado or California, but they had all kinds of cute animals, and they looked like they were having a good time. Until, everybody has a good time until.
Within this decree and truth, only love, beings, and harmony and balance can be here on planet Earth, equal heart, as decreed. These decrees have always been ever present, meaning they've always been here. Now, it's up to all of us to put this into our experience. Creation in motion. For this is absolutely the exact right moment of our complete freedom, if we choose. And that moment is now. Consciousness on the planet is being dissolved, which includes all of the attachments to illusion. As the unconsciousness transforms, you begin remembering that you are one with all which is, and that is. And this includes everything. This is universal.
Amy and Amarith eventually broke up, and since then she has dated or married or linked up with several other father gods. So many so that when I recorded this thing, I fully got two of them mixed up and kept referring to the wrong one during this whole episode. So, sorry about that. To make up for it, here is a compilation of Amy's various lovers / father gods, courtesy of the Rising Above Love Has One page.
Greetings, love beings. This is Mother God.
And Father God, hello.
And the First Contact Ground Crew team at your service. There's Father God. He'll be dancing for you. Greetings, my children of true love and light. I love you with all my heart and everything.
I deserve it. I am worthy. For all of humanity, on behalf, this is for all of humanity.
Greetings, love beings. This first video, we have two videos for you, so this is the first one. We introduce Father of Creation for the first time on this planet in physical form. Step into your roles.
We are in historical moments. This has never happened in creation before. We did reach balance harmonics at 9:18 this morning. The Father and Mother of all creation are here on the planet, and this is our planet, and these are our atoms. We are in historical moments. This has never happened in creation before. We did reach balance harmonics at 9:18 this morning. The Father and Mother of all creation are here on the planet, and this is our planet, and these are our atoms.
Conveniently, when Michael Lamboy comes onto the scene, and he's interesting because he was already kind of a huckster online. He was saying that he had cured his cancer, he could cure all ailments, so give him all your money. And he became the money guy. Anytime somebody wanted to purchase something, which they would ask often and they would get denied often. They weren't allowed to spend money on selfish things like food or anything. So he held all the finances, and in fact, everything was in his name. That's why he was allowed to just skip town with all the assets and the money, because legally it was his. So he didn't do anything legally wrong, although I think it was a jerk move, not very nice. But what do you think? So he was also called Miguel Silver. I wonder if it's because of all the silver that they would drink. Or Archangel Michael.
This is Archangel Michael with a special message. For years now, Mother has been on the planet in the physical. And I mean Mother of all creation. She's been all heart since birth, and has been in full communication with her guides, with their angels, since a child.
This Michael Lamboy, Archangel Michael guy was the real deal. And by that I mean he was very manipulative, and he did not have Amy's best interest at heart. And according to the documentary, allegedly, he was feeding into her delusions and telling her that the people who were telling her she wasn't God, aka people that were correct, were actually out to get her, thus reinforcing this idea that she was literally God. And here is a clip of him telling followers that they need to get rid of their families to really be fully invested in the group.
So she said, if you wish to stay, you can. So I guess the choice will be yours, if you wish to stay. But of course, if you wish to stay, you have to resolve a lot of the issues that you're having here. You're still hanging on to some of the white programming. There's conditioning issues, self-love. You also have attachment to family still. These are things that
MG knows about. MG knows everything here. So MG knows this, and we acknowledge this. You know, these are things that have to be resolved. The attachment to family. We're all one. But you gotta let go of your family. You know, there's a certain power over situation there, and every time you bring that energy to the house, it's something that you have to transform, and it brings an imbalance to the house. We're all connected. It's not like we're not. We know this also. We know this information. But that constant interaction with the family, you're bringing in 3D into the house. You know, that's just some of the things, you know. The condition that you have comes from, again, from your family. You know, it's the things that they've been conditioned to you, how to be, how to act. When you're in the heart, you don't have to be this way.
Carlson reports that she has been reincarnated, that she is 19 billion years old, which is older than the Big Bang. She has, you know, said that she was Jesus Christ, Joan of Arc, Cleopatra, Marilyn Monroe. Oh, not only that she was Marilyn Monroe, but she was hotter than Marilyn Monroe. Carrie Fisher, Elvis. Oh, Elvis is her son. No, Elvis is my son. And he's a beautiful boy. Oh, she was also John Lennon / Ashtar. Who the fuck is Ashtar? But yeah, she has this etheric team, which is like, I guess, her coworkers in the psychic realm. And her main ambassador was Robin Williams. Listen, man, I miss Robin Williams too. I think about him all the time. But he is not talking to this woman.
Get some food in her. So, you know, always reheart everyone, Mom's Food Fund, you know, that to provide, you know, funding for that, would be very grateful. On top of that, her game fund is another thing. You know, those are basically the only things that give her any comfort in these moments is, you know, knowing that humanity is stepping up as per Robin's orders to, you know, fund her food. And on top of that, the games that she plays, which she uses to bust the cabal.
She believes that there is a chosen people and she is a part of it, and that she will be recycled into the Galactic Sun, and that there is like a Galactic Federation that's going to come pick her up once she ascends. You know, it sounds fun. This is from Wikipedia. The group claimed that Carlson was the queen of the lost continent of Lemuria, and the group incorporated the belief that Lemurians live within Mount Shasta in California, where they lived for a little bit. Carlson had stated that Donald Trump was her father in a past life. What about this life? And that she had spoken to the spirit of deceased actor Robin Williams, who she claimed was the Archangel Zadkiel. Who the fuck is Zadkiel? The group's theology also included references to the concepts of Atlantis, the Anunnaki, and reptilians. She also believed that the world was run by a cabal, determined to keep this planet in a low vibrational state. Yeah, that's Nazi shit, Amy. The group also adopted elements from the QAnon conspiracy theory. Members have routinely expressed speculation that the COVID-19 pandemic was planned and that the Sandy Hook massacre, 9/11, and the Holocaust were all hoaxes. They claim that what society has been taught about the Holocaust is suspicious and that Adolf Hitler's intention was to serve the light. This was continued by the claim that Jews wanted everyone else to do the work and they would take the money. The idea behind the concentration camps was to teach them how to work. This is horrible. This is abhorrent. This is bigotry. This is anti-Semitic. But, you know, don't just take my word for it. Here's the actual clip of them saying these actual things.
Jews became bankers. That was their thing, that they want. The energy behind it was that they wanted everyone else to do the work and they would take the money. And so part of the idea behind the concentration camps was just to teach them to work.
She's also constantly drinking and smoking, and the people said, well, that's her medicine, and she's able to more easily, like, connect with the, like, shadow realm or whatever because she's drinking.
We were told that this alcohol is basically what was keeping her alive. For the untrained eye, it would look like a severe case of alcoholism. But she's the only human being I could see consume that amount and keep that level of coherence.
And then they would also, every time she was sleeping or passed out, they would be like, well, she, what the fuck did they say? Oh, she's having an etheric meeting. Can we, what?
My vision was chicken parmesan. So the fucking atoms turn around on me and get me meatballs. I didn't say meatballs. I love meatballs. But I didn't fucking say that.
Holy shit,
Parmesan. I get fucked up every fucking moment by you fucking motherfucking whores. My atoms. I'm like, I just need a tequila. Like, it takes like 5 rounds of whores to get me a tequila. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You know what? You can take your half-ass God and shove it up your fucking ass! I'm gonna take another tequila shot? I'll fucking do that shit. Bitch! Where's my tequila shot?
She was like talking about higher vibration and lower vibration. Yeah, 5D, fifth dimension. I still don't know what it means. Because it's also like offensive because they are just like appropriating shit from other cultures and other religions. And I don't know enough about those other cultures to be able to pinpoint and be like, that's from this, this is offensive, this is wrong. So my apologies if I gloss over any of that stuff. I'm not doing it on purpose. They are doing it on purpose though. So I can't tell you what's like accurate or not, but like they were obsessed with like chakras and auras and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, they had no business being involved in that kind of shit. They're being offensive and it's not even like accurate, right? Something about the group, one of the things that was super abusive is that they would sleep deprive them, they would food deprive them. One of the reasons is because they believed that you had to weigh, I put the exact weight in my notes, hold on. 103.1 pounds specifically is what you have to weigh to be able to fit on the Galactic ship. Well, now I guess we know what happened with Gwen Shamblin's airplane, huh? In all seriousness, the starvation in this group was nothing to laugh about. And from the vibes I got from Amy's mom in this documentary, it seems like she might have been an almond mom as well, so there was just a lot of issues with self-esteem and disordered eating going on in this group, and that's really sad.
Amy taught that the less that you ate, the higher vibration you would be.
In the new earth, in the ascended state, you know, we're transitioning out of needing sleep and food.
Robin calls me Miss Anorexic now.
You look great.
You look perfect.
Yeah.
Princess Anorexic.
Okay, I think we can all agree that that was really fucked up, and that, note here, Robin Williams would never advocate for somebody to not eat, all right? He would be very much in favor of healthy body image. So, I want to move on to the next abuse tactic from Love Has Won, which is that they were sleep depriving them.
I sleep 2.5 hours on this mission. I would cry when I didn't get 5. And I realized I was a fucking bitch on this mission. Weak ass fucking ungrateful bitch. Now every day I have no problem getting out of that bed, 2.5 hours of sleep, feeling fine to serve God because she's dying in a bed.
Now here is a clip from the Rising Above Love Has Won page, and it is of 2 things. Number 1, it is a group shaming session. It is members confessing to rules that they have broken and ways that they have offended Mother God, and none of these things are actual bad things, right? This is all just a part of their mind control tactics. Second, down here in the right-hand corner, member El Moira starts to fall asleep, and then Hope up here nudges another member to wake him up so that they don't get in trouble. And, spoiler alert, that doesn't work because then Mother God can be heard screaming off camera.
That was in self-importance, eating Mom's Ben and Jerry's, eating her Cheetos, chocolates, all sorts of self-importance around food.
Letting them take their own responsibility, not wanting to trigger them, but at the end of the day, it's their lesson to have, and it's my place to just give the full truth no matter how much it triggers them. So we all take full responsibility. I take full responsibility for everything. Mom's always in integrity. She always speaks the full truth.
And then in self-importance.
Okay, so unfortunately, adults were not the only people that Amy was abusing in this cult. She abused a cat by flinging it around by its neck and calling it slurs. That was just strange and unnecessary, and she even invokes Robin Williams when she abuses the cat, which she needs to quit taking the name of Robin Williams in vain. I'm just going to say that because he would never stand for any kind of abuse. And I blurred the cat to not traumatize you guys, not because I was trying to protect its privacy. Same thing with this clip of her abusing a toddler, because I just didn't want anybody to see it, but I needed you guys to know that she did this. So this woman brought 3 of her kids. They were all very small. They were there when the house got raided by the cops, by the way. And besides being irresponsible for having small children around these dangerous people who were doing all kinds of drugs, let alone have them around Jason Castillo, who is a violent wild card. Like, this whole thing is just messed up. But Amy ends up punishing the child by locking them in a closet, and you can hear them screaming, and all of this was done on live stream. So I don't really know what else to say besides, like, it's just really shocking that this person who's supposed to be, you know, the mother of all creation and full of love and light and harmony was so horrible to these people and so abusive. Yeah, so they made a lot of money from people giving away their life savings, and of course the etheric surgeries, which sometimes they were like thousands of dollars. I guess you just kind of paid what you had. I wonder if she had like any money back guarantees.
I literally went down to the bank down the street, emptied out my entire bank account, cashed out my 401k, and brought it to Mom.
The group that you've been seeing, the 20 or so people that would call themselves Love Has Won and worship Amy Carlson, Mother God, they arrived at Amy's place in California around 2018. Faith was the first. She's the blonde British faith healer, and she was encouraging everybody to come join her, and she called it heaven. And for a while there was lots of love bombing. There was lots of hugs and kisses and psychedelic drugs, and also, you know, several small children, toddlers. So everything was hunky-dory. And then one of the members accidentally burned the house down because they were burning sage in the forest during a drought.
Well, I went to Oregon and followed Mom's guidance there, and I was guided to go and burn some sage. It just went whoosh. And I said, Mom, it was me. And she said, I know, bitch, the angels told me.
Also in 2018, Jason Castillo, otherwise known as the Final Father God or Father of the Universe or whatever. I don't really respect his titles. Not that I respect Amy's, but this guy's just a real piece of work. He has a bunch of violent crimes under his belt, and he is a very scary and unhinged individual.
Serve love. I serve love. I command my atoms into right action.
You are taking power over, you are not feeling.
I have disgraced God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
It's not you. You've just been played as the dumb, like Hitler was. And you still do not want to acknowledge. I have an ankle bone waiting for you in your right temple. Do you want it? No. Get the fuck over it. Because I got one waiting for the left too. And it's going to take half your body up. You're going to be a paraplegic. You're only going to have the right usage of your leg and arm if you push me on this. I'm telling you because I'm Father and I love you. And I will always tell you what I'm about to do. That's how bad I am. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
I love you.
I love you.
And I will always love you.
He's just real mean. I think he has to call like his PO officer in the documentary, and he's like real straight laced on the phone. He's like, "Yep, I'm here at such and such, and you know I'll be checking in." Blah blah. He hangs it up, and then he goes, "Whore." Everybody's a whore. Everybody's a bitch. It's like You know, for a woman-led cult, they are very misogynistic.
You have a great day now, okay?
You as well. Bye.
Okay. Horse.
So people were complaining in the documentary. They said that he was binge drinking and drinking raw eggs. Pick one or the other at least. I just don't see the appeal. He's not even really handsome, you know? And like, you can find a dozen father gods or people just like him outside of Annie Casey's after midnight.
Your phallus, your fucking Washington Dick monument is being brought down, dick. No more dicks in charge. Pussy run this house.
They started doing daily live streams. Apparently the Angels said, the Galactics, instructed them to create a 6 a.m. live stream, and they got a lot of followers from that. It was called the New Earth Daily Ascension Update, and they would talk about all kinds of stuff, like...
Same thing with the Jews. It's like Hitler knew the truth. Hitler was trying to stop that.
So after that, this was in California, they moved back to Colorado, and I'm pretty sure this mission house is in Crestone, Colorado. You know, the locals hated them. They were always calling the police or trying to get detectives out there or trying to get people to investigate. They were reporting it to the news, how messed up this group was.
We've been trying to ask the sheriff in the county for 3 years now to get this place shut down as a public nuisance, and we're ignored. We have people up at night. We sleep in shifts because we're so scared to go to bed with them here now.
Oh my God, I fucking love this guy.
This group is called Love Has Won. Is love what you have seen here?
Not at all. Not at all. These are some very scary people.
Nothing crazy really happens until 2019 when Amy really starts to get sick. People were saying that she was transmuting all the negative energy of the planet. I mean, if that's true, it makes a lot of sense that she got so sick, right? There's a lot of negative energy on the planet she has to absorb.
Why can't she heal herself? She's God. Well, that's a great question because God can do things. Why doesn't she heal herself? I actually don't know how to answer that question.
Literally, there's so many, like, if you control F Robin Williams on my script, there's so many mentions of Robin Williams. Because now I'm looking at, there's a group member named El Moira, and he said he saw Robin Williams come through Mother God when she was drinking. Oh yeah, did she say hello?
Because if she dies, we all die. That's why she's still here. And the people that don't see her as God, that don't want to admit it, that don't want to, they don't feel it, whatever.
So she was deteriorating. Everybody could see this, like, clearly. Like, she's going on the internet all the time. And they were taking, like, just 4K pictures of this broad.
Gotta make sure you get your medicine. This is Mama's medicine. We don't care who thinks anything of it. It's what she needs. Because she's being killed energetically.
But they were being honest. They were saying she's going to die soon or she's going to ascend soon. We're waiting for the Galactic Federation to pick her up. And also, it's everyone on Earth's fault for killing her. So I don't know which is which. And the really sad part is that they were just following directions. Like, when she was a little more healthy, Amy would say, never take me to a hospital. I do not want to die by the hospital. And so they thought that that was a test whenever she would say, take me to the hospital.
There's no way that mom would go to a 3D doctor. I mean, they would be so perplexed by mom to begin with. First off, mom just triggers people just by smiling or breathing in her presence. So to take her to a dense place like that, absolutely not. There's been moments where mom has asked us to take her to a 3D hospital and we're like, nope. Because it's just, there's no way, and we know exactly how the hijacking works, and you can bet your fucking ass that someone in that hospital, whoever it would be, would get hijacked and would go straight for mom.
A few other things happened in 2020, namely former member Alex Whitten was being punished by being just left for dead in the desert, and thankfully he ended up walking to a hospital, but when he was found, he was completely delirious, dehydrated, and covered in cactus needles. There's not a lot of information about him, so I'm going to have to move on.
Your being. But ultimately, we love Alex, and he has never actually done an interview or said anything. It's always been his wife and his sister.
The other thing that happened in 2020 was that the cult and Amy's family appeared on the Dr. Phil show, and that is also very interesting, but I can't play any of it because of copyright. So we're going to move on to the other thing that happened in 2020, and that was when Love Has Won briefly relocated to Hawaii, and they didn't last long because they basically got kicked out. There were protesters there, and they had every right to be mad because Amy was pretending to be the goddess Pele.
Despite trying to call Hawaii home, a Colorado-based organization is back in the Centennial State after they were met with protesters accusing them of being a cult.
Denver 7's Gary Brode talked to two of the members of the group who call the whole thing alarming.
Never come back. For leaders of the organization, Love Has Won, aloha only meant goodbye during their Hawaii trip.
That they didn't agree with what we were speaking and felt that we weren't allowed to be there.
Lauren Suarez and Ashley Pelusa are members of the organization Love Has Won, a registered 501c3 nonprofit based out of Crestone. Amy Carlson started the group 5 years ago and decided to take a trip to Hawaii as her health fails.
She's paralyzed up to her chest. Her lungs are going at this point.
Those within the group refer to her as Mom.
To us and to everybody that supports the group, the team, she is Mother God, Mother of all creation, Mother Earth.
It's that belief which created problems while Carlson stayed on the island of Kauai.
What really I feel triggered them was, they have a fire goddess there, which I feel is their version of the divine mother.
Leading local authorities in Hawaii to call the group a cult.
That word has a very negative connotation, and I feel it's used against people in a way of something they don't understand and maybe just can't accept.
Days leading to the group's departure, locals gathered outside of the house, protesting their presence on the island.
They were telling us that we were invading them and we were somehow trying to destroy their culture when we weren't. The level of violence that it rose to was pretty alarming.
Just broke the window right now with the mouse trap.
Video shows protesters throwing objects at the home the group was renting.
We had just bought her a brand new car, which was the first new car she had had in probably 15 years, and they destroyed the entire vehicle.
A release from Maui PD shows that law enforcement stepped in for the safety of the group who chose to leave the island last Friday. And after some travel issues with travel forms, all 14 members of the group came back to Colorado. Gary Brode, Denver 7.
This whole time, she is actively dying. She is getting worse. And by April of 2021, the Galactics apparently told Amy to move to Oregon, and Hope and Aurora said that they didn't think that was a good idea and they didn't want to move her, but Jason said literally fuck you, and that they are going to move her. So they took her to Ashland, Oregon, and it appears like it's a big, maybe a resort or a hotel or something, but it's like a big log cabin looking place to stay. They had a big old whirlpool tub and stuff, and they were moving her from tub to shower to bed. She could not walk at this point, so Jason was carrying her, and Hope and Aurora, without asking, just said, fuck it, we're gonna go see Mother God. We're gonna be with her on her final days. So they hopped on a plane and went there to the hotel or whatever and proceeded to take care of Amy in her final days.
She said she didn't know what else to do except maybe go to a hospital. But, most of the time the Galactics tell her no. It's not us. If Mom really wanted to go to a hospital, we would surrender to it. But most of the time she would say things and then Robin or Jermaine would come through and be like, no.
So sometime between the beginning of April and April 28th, which is when the cops raided the Crestone house, she passed away. She ascended. And they were keeping her dead body in the hotel. And they were convinced that she was still alive because she was giving off electro radiation or something. They had a little machine that would pick up voltage or something. And I don't know if that's even what that machine does, if it was used correctly, or maybe it was just the metric fuck ton of silver that was in her blood. Maybe it was picking that up. But they were like, see, she's still alive. She's still warm. And the only reason they moved her is because they said that the hotel staff kept trying to get in so that they could clean, and they kept trying to put them off. So just imagine how pissed this hotel probably is. Not that they don't deal with people dying there, but this is This is absolutely crazy. So eventually they took her out of the hotel and they wrapped her in a sleeping bag and had her in the back of the car. And I'm pretty sure they were, I don't think it was 6 weeks, but it was some ridiculous amount of time that they were running around with her. They were camping with her body. And I don't want to say that like any of this is like weird or something, because I know that there are a lot of cultures who respect their dead and they spend time with their dead loved ones. And it is also perfectly normal to have to move somebody's dead body to somewhere else geographically to lay them to rest. At the same time, they loved her and they took, I was going to say good care. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I'm attempting to be sympathetic to Love Has Won and what they were probably going through when their leader died, because to them, they really were doing the right thing. They were following Amy's wishes. It just wasn't happening the way it was supposed to.
I mean, I literally thought the starship would just come, right?
Either way, Amy's body was returned to Mission House in Crestone/Moffat, Colorado, after a post-mortem road trip with the remaining Love Has Won members. For whatever reason, Archangel Michael, who I believe was the owner of the house, called the cops on the group and reported Amy's death. He did this before skipping town with all of the group's money. When the cops arrived, Jason said she was just resting, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't recommend that you watch the rest of this police body cam footage, because they do show Amy's body without censoring it, and also they made fun of her for being blue, and that made me so fucking mad, but, you know, what do you expect from 5-0?
True that Michael split from the whole team. We're not going to hide it or lie about it. Fact. Fact, Michael called the cops on the team. Fact. Fact, Michael stole all the money. Fact. He can say it's for Mom. He can say it's for Crystal's will. I don't care what he says. The fact is he never spoke to any of us. Fact. Pulled it all out and then called the cops. Then dissolved all of Mom's websites. Then took Gaia's. Then took down the radio station. Fact. So we're not going to blame him because we know much better than to blame Michael. He's not the villain in the story, but he is a character.
Eventually the charges were dropped and Amy's body was returned to her family. They could properly put her to rest and grieve their loved one who they missed very much. And it was determined that the group did not kill her because there is footage of her drinking all this silver and alcohol and doing other drugs. Like, literally, that was the reason why they determined that there was going to be no case.
The autopsy report for the mummified cult leader found in April may shed new light onto why charges were dropped for her followers. KRDO News Channel 13 Sydney Stell has been tracking the story since the beginning. She is live at the coroner's office tonight with what this autopsy revealed. Sydney.
Bart, of the thousands of autopsies Dr. Emily Russell has performed here at the El Paso County Coroner's Office over the last decade, this one certainly stands out, especially because it dispels many of the rumors spread after Amy Stroud's mummified remains were found months ago. Saguache County Sheriff's deputies made a startling discovery back in April. They found the remains of 45-year-old Amy Stroud, dead for weeks. In these images, her body is wrapped in blankets and Christmas lights. We've blurred her face. It had turned blue from a silver treatment she was ingesting. She was better known as Mother God and led a spiritual group or cult called Love Has Won. 7 members of the cult were charged after her body was found. They all faced 1 count of abuse of a corpse and 2 counts of child abuse because kids were found in the home with her body. Those charges, though, were dropped weeks later with no explanation. Now, months later, these new autopsy results from the El Paso County Coroner's Office show no trauma to her body. She actually died from organ failure caused by anorexia, alcohol abuse, and the final factor, ingesting colloidal silver, something that's falsely touted to have medical benefits. Dr. Emily Russell's report may shed some light on why suspicions around those closest to her were dropped.
It appeared that she was really well cared for in a bizarre way. it appeared to me that she was really loved by these followers who put the makeup on her and adorned her in these different things. Reportedly, they were reading to her and spending time with her body. I believe that they were rubbing oils into her skin as well.
There were also reports that her eyes had been removed, but that wasn't the case.
It's not uncommon when we have folks who have decomposed to the level that she was decomposed for us to not be able to appreciate their eyes. But it doesn't mean that any trauma occurred to them.
Now, Stroud had been reportedly telling people she had metastatic cancer, which is likely one of the reasons she was ingesting all that colloidal silver. When Dr. Russell performed the autopsy, she didn't find any signs of cancer.
Love Has Won is still alive in spirit, although it has splintered off into a few different groups, one of which is 5D Full Disclosure, which seems to be led by Hope and Aurora.
Was coming into a balanced harmonic chakra system. And also, humanity was boxed in by the Matrix into mostly living in the bottom 3 chakras. So we typically operate mostly in the 3D, not connected at all to our higher selves. We're operating mostly in the bottom 3 chakras. So those are 2 points creating pressure. They're forcing change upon us in our foundational environment. So not only within ourselves, but the foundation of our societies, of our world, are going to have to crumble and be rebuilt and rebirthed.
There's also this website, which seems to be full of the same exact type of nebulous, esoteric, spiritual nonsense as always. And look, they even have a 5D university for all you academics.
It is the most crucial thing that everybody needs to learn. Why? Because we all have unworthiness, myself included, which is why, that this experience was brought to me, because I never felt like I was good enough to get higher consciousness information, that it was for certain people that are gifted, come into this life gifted. It's not something that you can practice to obtain, is what they typically teach you out there. And it's not true. It's not true at all. Every single person is a part of the Galactic Federation of Light on the planet, decreed by Source herself. We are all a part of the bigger plan. We all have gifts. We all have abilities. They may not be exactly the same, but we all have that capability of accessing our higher self, the universe, Source, God, whatever you would like to call it, the angels. Everybody has angels. There's nobody that doesn't. So it's we all are super special. And that's the one thing I know that the cabal tried to take away from most people, is that power that we all have of sovereign beings, all being connected to Source. The cabal make it seem like you can only get these cool powers if you're rich and famous, if you sell your soul, that's how you become cool. And that's, again, it's not true.
Oh, Hope, I would have really hoped that you would have stopped saying stuff like that after you left Love Has Won, but I guess my hopes were crushed once again. Jason, aka Father God, and John, aka Father Multiverse, appear to be running a splinter group called Joy Reigns, and they managed to snag the URL Love Has the number 1 Joy Reigns the number 2.com. That's Love Has Won, Joy Reigns 2. So I guess God must be rewarding them for something, because that's a sick ass URL.
Children! Mother and Father of all creation here. Micah the Maestro. Master, Father, Omniverse.
There's drama. Let me tell you about it. So, I posted the thumbnail for my last video in June of 2021 on Instagram. And recently, Like last month, a group on Instagram called herstory_conversations with Mother God commented on my Instagram post. Yippee! Her story. Conversations with Mother God is the truth. Read between the lines. And so I followed that link, and they made a book, like a shitty Amazon book, called that same thing, Conversations with Mother God. And it's just like random spiritual crap that they said Amy told them. It's written by, who is it? Arkia Cynthia East, Volume Day Drug, PhD. Here's a comment from their Instagram. Why won't you tell anyone on Mom's actual ground crew team who you are? You never even met her, yet you're profiting off her story and don't even have the respect to talk to anyone who was actually with her. I mean, we know who you are, but your deception and trying to make it look like you were there is going to turn into a huge lesson for you. Yet some people are speculating that it was Michael Lamboy, Archangel Michael. So, what is the truth? You know, Mother God would not want any of this to go down like this. She was all about peace and love. And Robin Williams. Some words from the director, Hannah Olsen. She did an interview with Awards Daily, and she said, "These are all people who are Googling how to make their lives better. They wanted healing. Rich people can afford talk therapy and antidepressants and have all kinds of mental health resources that are just so scarcely available to the vast majority of the American population. While it was hard for me to relate to their 5D beliefs, what is known as the Galactic, the 3D, earthly, circumstances that led them to 5D were eminently relatable. The documentary film is the most powerful when it can immerse you fully in an experience or in a world that the viewer might not otherwise have access to. And in that immersion, I hope that people find a full sense of empathy. I think that having someone from the outside explaining what you should think about or what you're seeing detracts from that experience. My rule was that if you weren't there, you don't get to talk about it. So that's why she interviewed the actual members. I interviewed them over the course of 3 days in that hotel room, and it was a very intense experience. I think Amy was the kind of person who becomes whoever she's in a relationship with. And she's first with Amaranth, it's all about psychedelics and weed and the idea that we're all God. Andrew brings the internet element. Jason brought drugs, and together they had a Sid and Nancy mutually enabling relationship. Just as meeting Jason peeled back an additional layer on Mother God, Olsen gained a complete perspective shift when she interviewed Carlson's children, whom the leader left behind when starting Love Has Won. I saw how this one person who had been deified by these people had actually caused so much pain to these kids. I was in the process of reporting when I was making the film, and it was wild for me to have my own perspective shift so much to see the complexity of Amy. It's like the God-shaped hole we're all trying to fill. It's the void every addict is trying to fill. It's the void that people who are searching for any kind of spiritual answers are trying to fill. It's the void I feel and many others feel. But then on a systematic level, she'd been running her whole life from an abusive childhood, the exhaustion of a working-class life managing a McDonald's where she was not able to make ends meet for her 3 children. In so many ways, the material circumstances of her reality were not so tenable. It's the convergence of these two things, the spiritual void she was longing for and the untenable material reality that resulted in this tragedy. I think that's a wonderful way to put it. I thought this documentary was very insightful. I loved seeing the different ways that people interacted with Amy and what they're doing now, and seeing her backstory and kind of being able to piece together like what happened. The combination of mental illnesses, psychedelic drugs, conspiracy theories, and being surrounded by people who will do absolutely anything for you, up to and including transporting your dead body across 5 different states so that you could potentially fulfill this galactic prophecy. They really loved her. I think Jason loved her too, as manipulative and abusive as he is. I think he's also very delusional, and you can just see like it's a lot of lost people, and they were trying to fill a void, and for a few years I think they thought that they had it all. But that kind of thing is just not sustainable. You can't worship somebody here on Earth, it's just not a good idea. And I don't really have much else to say in this conclusion. This was a very sad situation. There are some funny parts, but it's mostly just like a really good example of how I think a lot of new high control groups are going to come about. I think there's going to be a lot more internet presence. I think there's going to be a lot more mixing of the religions. I think the conspiracy theories are going to be a huge part of these things moving forward. I don't know. It's just something we had never seen before. Not like this. I highly recommend the documentary. highly recommend watching my other video. Check out Rising Above Love Has Won, which they have a Facebook and a YouTube and probably a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. It certainly was a blast from the past to talk about it again. Essentially smash that like and subscribe button. Become a member if you want to support us financially. You also get a few benefits such as live streams. We just did the Fundy Awards on New Year's Eve and that was so much fun. I highly suggest you check that out. It's in the Patreon playlist. And we have merch, of course. Lots of good stuff. Very excited to I don't know, talk to you guys, spend time with you this year, make all kinds of good content. I'm gonna get out of here. I will see you guys soon. Next week is a James episode. Then I'm gonna be talking about a more recent event. I don't want to spoil it, but it's not something I've talked about before, but I'm excited to share it with you. Follow me on social media, and yeah. Peace on earth, equal heart.
Shazbot.